As expected, Raphael Warnock wins that Georgia Senate runoff, sending Hershel Walker to defeat. Today on Political Access, we're going to recap this race, as this finally concludes the 2022 midterms. So if you are new here, please do like, share, and subscribe. So let's get started here and get on New York Times. There's still some vote coming in, but the race has been called. Raphael Warnock has won. Right now he's at about a 2.5-point lead. It's probably going to tick up slightly, but he's over 51% of the vote. Hershel Walker is under 49%. And this is not really a surprise to anybody. All the polls show Warnock winning, probably by 3 to 4 points. I thought he would maybe win it by just a little bit over 2. Looks like it'll be just a little bit above that. And this will give the Democrats a 51 to 49 Senate majority once January rolls around. So Warnock is in it for 6 years. This finally concludes all the drama around Hershel Walker, and I think it's a big relief. As far as analyzing the vote here, what are we looking at? Well, the Senate map is here. It's definitely similar to the map from last month, but it was all going to come down to the margins and the turnout. But as I said, some vote is still trickling in. This map will show you the vote share for each county. The big blue circles, that's Atlanta. That's the suburbs to Atlanta. Fulton, Cobb, Gwinnett, DeKalb counties. That's where a lot of the vote is. And that was enough to put Warnock over the top. And if you scroll down here, you can see the margins in every county. And as I've said before, this indicates a ton of political polarization in Georgia. Very few counties are within single digits. A lot of these are 30 or more points in one direction. So if we go down here, this is the crucial map to take a look at the shifts from the general election. So the red arrows obviously shifted to the right and gave Hershel Walker more support than he got last month. The blue arrows did the same for Warnock. And at a glance, there's more blue arrows than there are red arrows. Hershel Walker did better in northern Georgia and a few other scattered counties. But for the most part, Warnock did better. It looks like his biggest shift here was in Stewart County, 7.7% more Democratic than in the general. And in these key Atlanta counties, they also shifted more toward the left, but not by overwhelming margins, 2, 3, 4 points. And as for the turnout, that's no surprise. It's down about 10% across the board. Again, the counties in and around Atlanta, they're probably down a little bit more than some of the more rural counties, but that's clearly not enough to offset that vote shift toward Warnock. So you could sit down here all day and go through each county, but I don't think it's really going to be all that fascinating at this point. We know Warnock won it. We know the vote shifted a little bit. We know turnout was down. The polls showed Warnock leading. I don't think there's a whole lot more to say about it. We can't get on Politico here, and this shows us that in the precincts where Warnock won by 10 points in the general election, this time he won by 1 more point, and in the precincts where Walker won by 10 or more points, they have shifted less than 1 point toward Warnock. And where either candidate won narrowly, again, they've shifted toward Warnock by 1 point. And turnout down 10 to 11%. One other thing we could take a look at, and I think this might be the most illuminating, and that is the Senate vote history for Georgia. Just 6 years ago, 2016, the Republican Johnny Isakson, he won by 14 points. So in only 5 years, it had shifted 16 points to the left. That's not just a little bit of a shift. That's an extreme lurch. Now, I know Johnny Isakson was the incumbent. I understand that. He did resign early while he was in office, and he has since died. But still, a 16-point shift is far more than just incumbency being the main factor. In 2010, he won by 20 points. 2004, he won by 18. So it wasn't that long ago. Georgia was at least a moderately red state, and in the Senate, that's borderline a very red state. The Republicans did have a little bit of statewide success, most notably with Brian Kemp. But the other races that are very important, President and Senate, and if these shifts continue at all, there's going to be no chance Republicans are going to be able to win. So maybe Brian Kemp will be the last Republican governor for a while. Got another 4 years to think about that. But if Republicans can't win in Georgia, they're going to have to make that up in some other states. They thought they were going to be able to rely on the Rust Belt shifts, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Michigan. But over the last couple of years, those trends have not continued. So it will be divided government in the next Congress. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of gridlock. We know exactly what to expect. It's all about the House and the Senate coming up with their own legislation that would be poisonous to the other side, but also having something everybody does like. And it's just going to be all about trying to make the other side look bad. There's going to be big convoluted bills that a lot of people don't even read all of. Some of it's not even going to get covered in the media, depending on what it is. This is what it's going to be, and then we've got 2024 coming up. And obviously, that's going to be complete chaos. but also in the U.S. Senate for that 2024 map. That's supposed to be the map that is very favorable for the Republicans. And I've already done one 2024 Senate prediction, and I think it is favorable for the Republicans, but it's not overwhelmingly favorable. They have opportunities in West Virginia, Montana, and Ohio. Democrats do have a chance in Texas and Florida, I'd say. But other than that, I don't think it's some dream map for the Republicans. We thought the map this year would be very favorable for the Republicans. Given they're the out party and the national environment, Republicans should have been able to win in Pennsylvania, Arizona, Nevada, and here in Georgia. Sure, they held on in places like Wisconsin and North Carolina, but in 2 years they will have to at least flip one seat to have a 50-50 tie and win the presidency if they want to control the Senate. If they don't do that, they're going to have to flip 2 seats, and they're also going to have to not blow it and hold all of their own seats. So it's very hard to predict. Anything could happen, but I would imagine Republicans would have a net gain of at least 1 seat in a couple of years from now in the Senate. So we'll see what happens. I'll still be trying to make videos. Hopefully the channel can expand more than it has been. But let me know in the comments, what do you think about this Georgia runoff or the outlook over the next couple of years? Let me know down below. And if you enjoyed this channel, on your way out, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next video.